You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good morning. My name is Joan Kessner, and as chair, I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation for Monday, January 8th, 2024. I'd like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast. And I'd like to identify and introduce our board members that are here today. Dan Castle, representing the County of Erie, Shatur Donovan, Sam Capitano, Connie Leiden, our president, Mark Wendell, Leslie Zemsky, and I'd like to welcome a new member of our board, Brian Whitman, who was previously recommended to serve by Governor Hochul on the board's behalf. I would like to welcome you today. And we know how you will be a tremendous asset and look forward to working with you. You have a vast amount of creative, proven records. So we're looking for Disney on the waterfront. I don't want to put any pressure on you, but thank you very much for joining us. It's an honor.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Great to be here.
Thank you. Continuing now, we welcome public comment on today's agenda items. I will note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 9 a.m. today. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda items. I will also note that we do not have members of the public attending today's meeting. The directors have received the relevant written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I would like to ask the directors whether anyone has a potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items agenda. If so, I would like you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then be sure that you recuse yourself from any discussions or votes regarding such items. Hearing none. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the directors' meeting November 13, 2023. Any questions or comments? All those approve?
Motion to approve.
Second? Okay, we will entertain motion for approval. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so thank you. The motion carries. Now I would like to call on our president, Mark Wendell, ECHDC, as mentioned, president, to present the remaining items on today's agenda. Please start off with the authorization for the corporation to enter into a one-year management agreement extension in connection with the management of Canal site. Mark, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Kessner. As mentioned, currently, Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation has an agreement with the City of Buffalo to manage, operate, and activate the City of Buffalo-owned parcels that are bounded by Marine Drive, Main Street, and the waterfront, the boardwalk area. We have had an agreement with the City of Buffalo for 10 years that culminates on March 31st, 2024. This one-year extension would allow us to continue conversation with the City of Buffalo on what is a longer-term solution and management approach for this very property. So the term of the agreement is following what we have currently follow to the $25,000 per year to pay for to operate and maintain. Our extension would run from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. And as I said, this one-year extension gives us the opportunity to continue discussions with the City of Buffalo on next steps for that parcel. So at this time, the requested action is to authorize the corporation and to enter into a one-year extension of the management agreement with the City of Buffalo for operations and maintenance of the canal side properties. City of Buffalo owned canal side properties.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item?
Yeah, so Mark, I was wondering if you could elaborate on what maintenance means in the contract?
Yeah, so maintenance means is under this agreement, we pay for the utilities, we repair the boardwalk decks, we put in the boat docks along the waterfront, we maintain Mayor Brown.
Hello, everyone.
Mayor, thank you for joining us. An honor. So as noted, the mayor of the City of Buffalo has joined us today. What an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We just on our first item, and it is at the request for a one-year extension of our current management agreement with the City of Buffalo for the board to allow us to enter into a one-year extension with the City of Buffalo to maintain and operate the City of Buffalo owned property within Canal side. Shatora has asked for clarification on what that means, operate and maintain. So operated and maintenance of those properties, what we've provided over the last 10 years is it goes from lawn maintenance, boardwalk repairs, utility costs, installation and removal of the water of the boat docks along the boardwalk. It is, again, various site improvements within their area. It also under the contract or the agreement that we have also includes activation. So we work with our operator, be our guest. So anybody that has an event within the lawn area or anything has to be, we signed an agreement with them to be able to host that. They have to go through us so that we act as kind of that the management and operations team of the property.
What does the $25,000 in the contract, does that pay for those services?
No, that $25,000 goes to the city of Buffalo for us to be able to have the rights to manage and operate the property of there. Our costs for that are more than.
Who holds the liability insurance?
We hold the insurance and we have the city of Buffalo as an additional insured for protection.
Okay.
I guess I could ask the mayor, is the city aware that that there's an interest in taking over the property?
I think that's one of the options. I think there's been a number of conversations. I think this 1 year extension, which is, with the contract currently agreement coming to a close on March 31st, we wanted to have something in place that allows us to continue, maintain and operate while giving us a duration of time to meet with the city of Buffalo officials to figure out what is the next steps in that thing. So I think there's a lot of options on the table for that moving forward. And then, one of the options might be, a purchase of agreement, but I think this is just giving us the time to figure things out and meet with the officials as needed so we can figure out the right steps.
Any other questions or comments? I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Mark will now present the authorization for the corporation to enter in a contract amendment for consultants services in connection with the Erie Canal Bicentennial Celebration at Canal site. Mark?
Thank you, Chair Kessner. This is an amendment to an existing contract for BMC Consulting. They have been assisting us in working on establishing the parameters for our very large, hopefully well-attended bicentennial celebration in 2025. The Canal Site History Advisory Group, which is a group of volunteers that worked in order to ensure the historical relevance of Canal Site continue to be woven into the fabric of this site. But they're a group of 15 volunteers. BMC Consulting has been brought on board to give us, additional professional encounters and engagement and help assist the ECHTC staff in taking on the planning of this 2025 celebration. The scope of work that has been included is brand development for the celebration, reviewing the historic timeline of the Erie Canal, researching historic content on the Erie Canal and its impact in Buffalo, and identifying public engagement opportunities. BMC Consulting had also assisted in a request for proposal process to solicit proposals from local cultural groups to perform during the celebration. This work was completed and or initiated under the original contract. ECHCC is seeking a contract amendment to allow BMC to complete the tasks they have begun, which are tasks 5 and 6, and take the remaining tasks, tasks 2, 3, 7, 8, and 9, from start through completion. And according to the scope of work, tasks 2 and 3 are really looking at the site, Canal site as a whole, how we can plan, how we can engage with the public, where, as we mentioned in the previous proposal, we solicited proposals from local cultural groups. We received 9 responses. So we're looking forward to these groups bringing forth the stories of how their, whether it be Irish, African-American, Native American, how these groups were impacted by the Erie Canal. And so we're going to work with them to make sure they have the right spot, the proper location, and also help promote to make sure we have attendance. But the first tasks are helping to lay out the management site and provide access to the visitors. BMC will also be helping us with our marketing campaign, working with the design consultant and both on the exhibits and the marketing campaign as well. And our biweekly project management, again, be an extension almost of our staff that assist us in this large endeavor of being home quarters for the 2025 bicentennial celebration. This amendment will extend his contract through October 31st, 2025. The amendment is at the cost of a not to exceed amount of $250,000. And the funding is through the New York Power Authority relicensing agreement funds. BMC Consulting will continue to be required to meet MWB participation goal of 30% through these amendments. Empire State Development staff has determined that the action, which involves entering into a consultant contract to undertake event planning services, constitutes a type 2 action as defined by New York State Environmental Quality Review Act and the implementing regulations for the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. No further environmental review is required at this time. So the requested action is to make a determination of responsibility with respect to the proposed consultant and authorize the corporation to enter into a contract amendment with BMC Consulting for an amount not to exceed $250,000.
Mayor,
Yes,
do you have a listing of the cultural groups that have responded?
I do have a listing. I can provide those to you. I can provide those to you in a separate list, Mayor.
Okay.
Yes. We had 9 responses and we're going to engage all 9. And I will get that list to you as soon as possible.
Do you have it?
I don't have it on me because it wasn't part of this amendment that we're going to have separate individual contracts with each group. So I can definitely get you that information.
And for this event,
Yes.
will there be any revenue generation from this event, or is it all outgoing money?
I think there's will be a variety. A lot of the stuff that we're proposing cultural wise would be more of you come in and listen. We are going to be working with, try to work with sponsorships for some things. We are looking at working with some local, whether it's breweries. We will be selling merchandise. I should say there will be merchandise for the 2025 celebration. Some local breweries have come forth of offering to make a 2025 bicentennial beverage. So I don't know, a revenue plan, we're starting to get into that thought, everything, but we are, as far as revenue, we are thinking of merchandise sales, basically. But we want the performances by the groups to be just open, and we're going to schedule that. So whether it's song, spoken word, dance performance, we'll just have a scheduled time for them to be able to perform in these areas.
There's some hotels in the immediate area. Will they be providing sponsorship because they likely will be the beneficiaries of this event with the people that will be attracted to it, hopefully?
They are they are on our list to meet because we are hoping that, and especially hearing things from what the Erie Canal Heritage Corporation is planning for the entire state. And with our event, just to get you, we are culminating our bicentennial celebration with the World Canal Conference, which will be about 500 attendees coming to Western New York to have their conference, as well as there's a Buffalo Maritime Conference happening. So just besides the bicentennial, there will be a good amount of visitors. So we do plan on talking to the hotels and other neighboring businesses that will be beneficial to our guests during this time. And we see this bicentennial running from early May through the end of September, early October, is because that's when the conferences wrap up. So we'll culminate with the conferences that are visiting.
Okay,
If I can get you the list of this when I get it.
I appreciate it.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Does Be Our Guest do the work of soliciting the sponsorships and then that goes into the general revenue, or is
No,
it something?
This is separate.
Separate.
This is
okay.
separate that we are overseeing and working with a consultant to do separate.
So the consultant will help you with those outreaches?
That is correct.
Okay, and then just kudos on the CHAG group. So I'm glad to see that that's continuing, and has that been a good working relationship?
It has. We have,
Maybe tell us a little bit more about the CHAG.
so
group.
our History Action group has been very well involved in helping work with BMC Consulting on helping set the parameters for Erie, the bicentennial. And one of the leads on that we have is Melissa Brown, who is with the Buffalo History Museum. So as well as Mark Goldman, Peter Dowd. I'm sorry, now some names escape me. But we do have a volunteer. Not every, they take turns, on schedule. But we do have a very active group that has been very excited about this bicentennial and their participation in seeing this moving forward. Sam.
Yes, during the June through December, do we have a progress report from BMC that we could look at and see where we're at, the decisions that have been made in contracts?
We can, so mostly, yeah, if we want to get to something, that work, the earlier tasks were really helping us with establishing a timeline and really focus on working with, which is our next amendment, is local projects and working with them to figure out what the exhibits should say. So I can see we can put something together, but it's really been a lot of meetings and working with CHAG and local projects again, establishing that bicentennial timeline, figuring out what the stories need to be told, what hasn't been told that needs to be told. That's why we've reached out to all these different cultural groups to be involved. We put an RFP out and they submitted a proposal, but we can see if we can put together a memo on update on that. Yes.
Are the 9 groups that respond to the RFP, are they then members of CHAG?
No, they are not.
No. Okay.
No,
So
they,
those 15 members were chosen, the 50 members of CHAG, they were chosen by the consultant?
no, the Canal Side History Action Group has been an action group since the formation of Erie Canal Harbor Development Corporation. They're a volunteer group, and their purpose has been hopefully to help integrate history into the Canal Side area. So they've had, in the past, they've had input on the information that's put on some of the signs by the bridges. They've had some input on storyboards and also some things, they would put forth, how interaction should be with visitors. But they've been very waiting for this for a long time. So it's been they've been sitting there kind of quietly waiting to take on this large.
But the consultant is like number 5 says that the consultant, one of their roles is to help diversify that group. Assist with the expansion and diversification of the CHAG.
Right, as we.
As necessary.
Not, I've seen that read that, not, I think the approach has been, is part of that outreach to the CHAG, not change the CHAG composition, is trying to reach out to and diversify the history that is being told. And that's where we worked with them to issue the RFP to reach out to other cultural groups beyond. We do have, I apologize, I don't have all the names. We do have Native American effort. We do have a diverse, volunteer group on it. But I believe this task was working with CHAG to help diversify the story and everything to make sure. I'm not sure if it's written properly, but the intent was to help make sure the focus of Canal Side was expansive and in this storytelling.
Right, awesome. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Even though this work is being done for the bicentennial, if it's done right, it's a really good long-term investment for Canal Side.
Yes.
So will we be keeping informed as this progresses? Will there be
Yes.
reports to the board?
Yes, because I think it's, especially when it's such a large event that we're trying to undertake here, I think. We can include some updates, quarterly updates on how it's progressing and how sponsorship is and everything is moving forward, and updates on how performance and schedules go on.
That
So
would be
we're
great.
looking forward to getting this started, because even though it's January 2024, it's a quick going. So we're anxious to get things moving.
The publicity of this, the amount of money we're spending, the public nature of
Yes.
this, the amount of money we're spending on this consultant and the activities, I think, are really important to the community here. So I just can't emphasize enough how important it is to be able to have that review and input in what the consultant's activities are, so that, we can make sure this is being managed and in a way that really stewards the entire community.
Yes. Yeah, we can make sure we provide those updates.
We agree. As noted earlier, we do not have any, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say again, the city has long been concerned about how to monetize this asset. Publicity, great. People coming down, great. But there's absolutely no revenue in any of this. So when the city takes it over, if that happens, it will be an asset that produces absolutely no revenue. And that's a concern of the city that I want to again put on the table, which I've been, saying for years now. Just concerned that the way this asset has been developed, the city can't monetize anything. Even with the hotels, if the hotels are full, that tax money goes to the county, it doesn't come to the city.
Right. As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for the approval.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I don't know if I moved your second, but second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Mark, please continue and present the final item on today's agenda, a request for the corporation to enter into a contract amendment for continued design and fabrication services in connection with the Erie Canal bicentennial visitors experience.
Thanks. So again, this is a contract amendment. We've been working with a consultant, Local Projects out of New York, to create inclusive experience for the bicentennial. This contract they've been working on as well and getting feedback from CHAG and our previous mention of BMC Consulting and establishing timelines. Their focus has been to create interactive exhibits that will both reside within our Longshed building as well as sit along the canal for visitors to be able to come and learn about the history of the canal on their own time or during the visit. We expect that these exhibits will stay longer than just the bicentennial. We have tasked Local Projects to make sure that these exhibits can be upgraded and be well, made of materials durable to last 3, 4, 5 years and sit within Longshed and the outside. They have created 5 exhibits that will be within the Longshed building that will tell the story of the creation of the canal. It'll tell the story of those who built the canal. It'll show the functioning nature of the canal, grain elevators, and also have an ancestral portion of it if you wanted to see if you had somebody in your family work on the canal as well within the canal side, within the Longshed. We will also have some storytelling displays, some thresholds that sit along the canal that will also allow somebody through a phone QR system to see what it would look like from that standpoint, from that viewpoint, what the canal looked like historically. So you can get a reference of the difference between modern time and back when it was created. So this scope of work is for task 3 and task 4. Now, it won't be all of it, but basically this is task 3 and task 4 focus on the final design of these exhibits, the creation of these exhibits. These exhibits are being created by Hadley Exhibits, a local Buffalo company. And they will work with the establishing the infrastructure and putting all the technical information as well as historical information to make these as interactive as possible. There's also part of renovation and maintenance under this contract that will allow for us to engage with the consultant as needed during the bicentennial if anything happens to need to be fixed, as well as a longer term to help fix this, maintain the exhibits. We will have, having Hadley being the local person, having them nearby will be a great assistance if we need to have any kind of repairs taking place or parts replaced as we see this fully being used. So the design firm contract will be extended through May 31st, 2025. That'll be where the final installation will occur. The amendment amount with Local Projects for these tasks 3 and 4 for the fabrication of this will have a base amount of $3,304,880 with a contingency of $183,120 for a total amount of $3,488,000 for these exhibits. The project funding will be under the New York Power Authority They will also, during this contract extension, be required to maintain and achieve their MWBE participation goal of 30% and SDVOB participation goal of 6%. Again, under the environmental review, as this is a design contract, there's been determined that there is a type 2 action and no further environmental review is required at this time. So the requested action is to make a determination of responsibility with respect to the proposed consultant and authorize the corporation to enter into a contract amendment with local projects for amount not to exceed for a base amount of $3,304,880, including a reimbursable expense of $183,120 or contingencies for a total contract amount of $3,488,000.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to this item?
Is there any charge for any of these exhibits?
At this time, we, especially the ones on the outside, no, and we expect this to be, again, fully engaged for the public too. This is something I'll say that as we've been trying to increase the history, it's been something I know that we've been hearing from the public that there needs to be more history telling. So now that we have a building like the Long Shed, the Seneca chief will be who will be vacating the building hopefully in early May of this year. So this will allow us to bring in more of a history component to tell to the visitors. And like I said, with this kind of expenditure, we're looking to make sure that these remain for years to come, not just the summer.
But for free years to go.
Yes, that's as of right now. We are thinking that it would be a free. There has been talk about it, maybe a ticketed event, also because ticketing would help us maintain capacity. Long Shed is not a very large building, so we have to make sure that we do not have unsafe gathering of people within the Long Shed. So we have talked about ticketing just for time purposes. Whether or not there is also a monetary value to that, we have not made that final determination.
So the long-term ongoing maintenance, who do we contemplate will pay for that?
Inside, the Long Shed is the city of our structure. So we would be the ECHC would be maintaining and take ownership of these pieces that are being constructed.
I could see there kind of being a combination of, I love the idea of being free and accessible to people. And then maybe there's potential for private events and things, and, again, part of your whole corporate program.
I think that's something that right now we've had some discussions on this as well. And really this is the next step of these contracts is really getting focused with BMC Consulting as well as our staff to make sure that we approach everything because we want to have a balance of that. And we think there's some things, whether it's like I said, with our community cultural groups, maybe that's free and maybe there's a cost. The one thing with these exhibits, like I said, with the Long Shed, it's a fixed site, it's not the outdoor area. So you do have to be careful of how many people are in the building at one time for safety concerns. So we definitely have to need a ticket for that point. It's just whether or not there's a.
Right. Maybe you'll end up with what does it cost on the carousel? Is that $1?
That's $1.
So maybe you'll end up with $1 that helps. Or, I love the idea of it being free.
Trying to make it very family friendly.
Exactly.
Mark, after the bicentennial celebration, the packet boat is out of the Long Shed, right?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, so that.
The packet boat is out of the Long Shed this May.
It's out of the.
It'll be docked in the canal. So we'll have free space to put in our exhibits inside the Long Shed.
And the purpose of the Long Shed can iterate over that time, whether it be for private events or things like that.
Yes.
Mark, we have all the sponsorships for all of this. A lot of great things that are coming up, but because that would be a great revenue stream, not just initially, but going forward and spending this kind of money on it. That's a great investment and a big investment. So if we do these things right, and people love them, there should be the right, even with the free and ticketed, there should be, I would think, an opportunity for some larger sponsorships, maybe even more on the national level for what a great event this is going to be. Is that possible?
Well, there's two things. We talk about sponsorship. We work with BRGS, who is our
Okay.
They handle sponsorship for Canal side and the outer harbor. Okay, that's for everything. For this specific bicentennial event, that's why we have BMC Consulting. We've also actually put out an RFP for a website creation and assistance in branding and marketing specifically for this event. We just received the proposals on Friday. So we are looking to utilize consultants to help with that sponsorship outreach, besides in helping with Brian, but they're gonna be also, the next component of this is engagement, not just in person, but digitally. So that's why, and our website for Buffalo Waterfront has needed an update, so we're kind of took this as an opportunity to have our website be updated and have the creation of a bicentennial update. We're also gonna hopefully use that marketing firm along with BMC Consulting to help with sponsorships as well as, our. But this is gonna be specific, we're gonna be taking that approach specifically just for the bicentennial event. So Be Our Guest, who is our operator for Canal Side and Outer Harbor, they are tasked for sponsorships, they do sponsorships in general, whether it's their music series or anything else. That's a separate thing, so. But we are thinking of, we've started with the list with neighbors first, and hopefully whether we get that national thing, that's good.
And happy to help with all of that. So
Thank you.
just ask.
You guys doing record.
That's why I said it.
Any other questions or comments? All right, as noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval. So moved. Second,
I'll do it.
Connie was before you this, Sam, but thanks. You're all
You can
in
always
favor?
put me in, just put me in.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries, and I want to thank everybody for their participation in today's meeting, and special thanks to Debbie Rose for putting this all together. Thank you, Debbie. Hope you feel better. We appreciate your help. And now there being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? So moved.
motion.
Sam. Thank you to everyone for your participation in today's meeting. I appreciate your attendance. Thank you.
Thank
You, good to see you.
Hi, same here.
You know.